You are about to see Detroit of the future. Renaissance Center.
This downtown development that's going to take place here in Phase 1, 4 office buildings and one 70-story hotel is being built by the people of Detroit and for the people of Detroit. Investors group and honored guests, we're going to make this city a viable, going, great city that it can be and has been and I'm sure will be in the future.
And of 31 sites, the 33-acre parcel on the Detroit River was believed to be the best in the city for having the type of impact required. Following the site search, the land was acquired from various private owners, and through the cooperation of these owners and the city of Detroit, we were able to go forward with a master plan for the 33 acres.
This 30 acres involves some $500 million. The economist will describe for you the multiplier effect of that $500 million 2.5 times, which means that in the next 10 years there will be in excess of $1 billion invested in construction, invested in jobs, invested in making the riverfront what Dr. Konstantinos Doxiadis has long said, the most beautiful riverfront site in the whole world yet to be developed.
Just during the construction period, we'll have some 2,000 people working at its lowest point and some 7,000 persons employed during the high point of construction.
The Renaissance Center will involve many job opportunities while under construction and when completed. Some benefits for specific elements of Detroit's labor force are outlined by the Secretary-Treasurer of the Hotel, Motel, and Restaurant Employees Union, Local 705, Myra Wolfgang.
The Detroit Renaissance promises rebirth for the hotel and restaurant industry.
Very great plus package for this area.
There are any number of financial... This has been the story up to now of Renaissance Center, a revitalizing force on the riverfront where Detroit was born and where it is constantly receiving a new lease on life. From conception to demolition and groundbreaking, the project has steadily gained momentum. At this point, the drillers are boring deeply into the ground to make way for the concrete caissons that will be the foundations of the towering 70-story hotel and its adjacent quartet of 39-story office buildings. As new history is being made, old history comes to light. For during construction, archaeological experts cooperating with the developers are unearthing important reminders of Detroit's past, forming a unique link between them.
When it gets down to the bottom line, taxpayers will probably look at the financial feasibility of the Circuit Court Renaissance rather than the philosophical question of what it'll do to office space in downtown Detroit or to the court's backlog.
Yeah, that's right.
this downtown development that's going to take place here in Phase 1, 4 office buildings and one 70-story hotel is being built by the people of Detroit and for the people of Detroit. And I'm convinced, and I know many other people are as well, that this will be a catalyst for the Renaissance of Detroit. Now, the Renaissance has already started, but this will be another great step forward. But it's going to take the cooperation, the goodwill, and the hard work of all of us who are citizens of this great metropolitan community to see that this whole thing is accomplished.
Renaissance Center is an economic and psychological boost for the city that is unparalleled in my judgment. Just during the construction period, we'll have some 2,000 people working at its lowest point and some 7,000 persons employed during the high point of construction. And after that, the jobs that help solve unemployment that will be available through the facilities that are there, the hotel and the office structures, are very obvious. As mayor, we're always concerned about building a tax base so that we can provide the public services that our citizens need. And in property taxes alone, Renaissance Center will bring over $11 million. In addition to that, the jobs that it will provide will bring income tax, individual income taxes to the city, and there will be corporate income taxes as a result of Renaissance.
The project was conceived out of the result of meetings of Detroit Renaissance, which is a group that was formed to economically progress Detroit. And after many months of meetings, Mr. Ford determined that it might as well be he who made the first step. It was known from the beginning that one single corporation could not back a development or be a single developer to the extent required to have major impact on the city. However, at Mr. Ford's request, a site search was made, and of 31 sites, the 33-acre parcel on the Detroit River was believed to be the best in the city for having the type of impact required. Following the site search, the land was acquired from various private owners, and through the cooperation of these owners and the city of Detroit, we were able to go forward with a master plan for the 33 acres. We then went to a number of other investors who were either Detroit-based or had a stake in the future of Detroit, and put together an investor group which now comprises 49 partners in a general partnership known as Renaissance Center Partnership.
Almost 3 years ago, I had a long private discussion with Henry Ford about some of the things that needed to be done to revitalize Detroit. And at that time, I urged that he provide leadership together with other key businessmen in doing some things physically and economically in Detroit that would help lead to its revitalization. And I'm mighty pleased today to see the Renaissance Center moving close to reality. I think it has great potential for being the spark that will physically and economically revitalize our city of Detroit.
When Detroit Renaissance was created 2.5 years ago by the leading businessmen and industrialists of this community, they had as their goal the economic and physical revitalization of particularly the downtown area as a priority focus. It seems to us that Renaissance Center provides dramatic evidence of the interest of the business leadership in this community and the attraction of the downtown area for economic and physical revitalization. This dramatic center providing jobs and a tax base for this community, an investment of over $500 million, is dramatic evidence that Detroit is alive and is going somewhere.
Well, the basic function of architecture is to provide a framework and a background for human activity and human life. Now, as far as what we're trying to do in Detroit is to go beyond what has happened in the past, where most of architecture has been involved with individual buildings, and there's been a great deal of planning done for individual buildings. Throughout the world,
We are now attempting to go beyond the individual buildings to create a much broader complex involving the total cycle and the total requirements of human activity in a total environment.
Phase C1 of the development, which comprises 13 acres, includes the 70-story hotel building surrounded by 4 39-story office buildings. Construction is currently underway in this facility. We're now forecasting completion of the first office tower by late 1975, with the additional offices to come on stream in 3 to 4 month intervals. The last office building to be completed at the same time as the hotel, so that the entire development should be completed by late 1976.
I would like to think of the Renaissance Center in relation to metropolitan Detroit, just as one would think of the heart of Paris in relation to that region of 14 million people in France. Actually, any region to be great must have a great heart. It must have a cultural heart, a business heart, a soul, you might say, that reaches out to every person in the entire region, as far as 50 or 60 or 75 miles.
Chamber of Commerce point of view, the economics of it is what makes greatest sense, because it stimulates much confidence in the metropolitan Detroit marketplace and has a rippling effect that spills over into other kinds of development.
2.5 million square feet of office space on the market in such a short period of time is quite an undertaking, and we've been asked whether it will have an adverse effect on other office buildings in Detroit. We think that the effect will, in a short term, of course, create relocation of a number of currently downtown tenants from other office buildings. But we look at the project as being a long-term project which will have a positive effect on the total market. Needless to say, with new construction, our rentals will be at the top side of the market, and as tenants relocate, it should create the effect of broadening the rental base for Detroit. In other words, as space becomes available in existing office buildings in Detroit, the landlords will have the choice of either upgrading their space or of lowering their rental rates. So we look at this project as being favorable in terms of broadening the entire downtown market.
The Detroit Renaissance promises rebirth for the hotel and restaurant industry in downtown Detroit. As head of a union committed to the rebuilding of the inner city, I greet with joy the prospect of Detroit becoming a center of activity and culture, and it is with equal pleasure that we anticipate the prospect of new job openings with the building of a 1,500-room hotel. With full occupancy, this can be projected into over 100 jobs for maids alone.
We look upon Renaissance Center as increasing evidence of the revitalization and the continued vitality of the growth of the downtown area. Certainly it's the most visible evidence we've seen in some time. Perhaps more importantly, from a convention standpoint, it adds 1,400 brand new sleeping rooms to a total convention package that by 1977 will involve over 10,000 sleeping rooms available for convention purposes.
I think the Renaissance project has great significance for the city of Detroit in the sense that it marks a significant commitment on the part of industrialists and people in and outside of our city in an effort to rebuild our city, to turn it around, and to again make Detroit the great city that it once was. I am fully supportive of Renaissance and the promise that it gives of rebuilding our great city.